Tonight, the gang tries to go viral. We do have to say goodbye to another member of Pride. But hello to Tandy and Tyrone. Stick around on the Runaways After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, everyone? I'm feeling so loopy like some of these characters on the show because, not to bring politics in it, but Trump just got announced that he's possibly impeached.
He is impeached.
It's not like possible.
I know. I feel like this is a dream. Like I'm in the dream dark dimension. Like these characters. This is crazy, guys. But
that's your worst nightmare.
Enough about that. It's very reminiscent to kind of like maybe Morgan's going to be impeached later in the season. We don't know. But anyways, I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. I'm joined by my fantastic panel of amazing Marvel superfans. To my left, I have Mina Naidine.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back. Were you in the dark dimension?
You know what? I was in the light dimension. I was in some dimension, but that episode that I missed, the Dream State one, was my favorite episode of Marvel's Runaways.
That's perfect.
Ever.
No, I'm happy to say that.
It was the best one. It was so good.
Yeah, you could totally fill us in for your initial thoughts since you missed it, because I would love to hear them for sure.
I loved it.
And of course, next to Mina is the amazing Marvel superfan, Chae Jones. She's back with me.
I am back.
You sound so excited.
I am.
That was sarcasm.
I've been up since 4, okay? Give me a break here, guys.
Oh, girl, same.
I'm working on it.
Well, I'm super excited that we have our Runaways kind of reunited. Lauren's not here, but go show her some love. She'll be back eventually, I'm sure. But what do you guys think of this particular episode? And Mina, since you weren't here previously for some of the episodes, let me know, because you were so excited about Welcome to Dreamland, episode 5.
I felt like these episodes kept getting better and better. And like I said, from episode 1, I already felt like we weren't starting with an intro. We were in the middle of the action, and it kept getting better and better and better. And that's why I'm so furious that this show's been canceled.
Exactly.
I don't even understand how the show was canceled, because it's so good. And if anything, I feel like season 3 has been the strongest season of Marvel's Runaways yet. It was so good. I mean, there's not even a lot of explanation for things. It just goes right into it, and you learn all these things through the beautiful visuals that we see in front of us. And we learn about the dream realm, and we got to see Karolina looking at the love of her life be turned into this crazy demon. I mean, it was so dark. It was crazy. And I loved every second of it. And my thoughts of Morgan le Fay have completely changed.
Oh, well, I'm excited.
Completely changed.
I'm excited to hear that.
I like to believe the best in people, but now I'm seeing a crazy side to her that it feels a little Lord Voldemort, Bellatrix Lestrange.
Oh, I love it. I love your Harry Potter references.
Yeah.
How they contrast and compares to Runaways. It's amazing. Chae, what did you think about this particular episode, or anything that you weren't here for?
Episode,
because you weren't here for the Dreamland episode either.
I was not.
So catch us up to speed in this episode and that episode if you'd like.
For the Dreamland, I thought it was the most incredible place. Like, because it started off, it seemed like I feel like your worst nightmare either is turning into your parent in Chase's case, like actually becoming his dad, or when it came to Tina, actually learning that her biggest nightmare was the fact that she couldn't save Amy.
Yeah.
That was, in a way, humanizing.
Yeah.
When it comes to Tina as a character. So I really enjoyed that. And actually, I still love the line where Chase just like, I can't remember how he phrased it up until this point where he was just like, come at me, bro. I was like, I am so here for you, Rex Logan, right now. Mm-hmm. I am in love with Chase.
It was a very powerful episode. I loved. My personal favorite was Gert's. How Gert's anxiety was developed from her mother mind wiping her. That caused her at age 13. And you would think that her mom constantly trying to protect her and erase her memories would actually help Gert. It actually hurted Gert. It didn't help her by any means, because that's what developed the anxiety from this whole entire time, by trying to hide the truth. So basically, as a parent, don't hide the truth from your kids. Yeah. But also, it's kind of like we want to protect your kids, but protecting your kids too much could be very harmful in that sense. I
feel like smothering your child is suffocating your child.
Right.
And it literally kills you and does irreparable damage. And we all want to make sure that our loved ones are taken care of, but the older we latch on, the more damage can be done.
What are your thoughts on this episode? Because it's really gearing up to be kind of tech meets magic in this, as we're seeing, Morgan control kids with the cell phones and kind of the Corvus, as we talked about last episode, and kind of how this merging of technology and magic is how she is kind of influencing everyone. She's like the big influencer like of Instagram these days.
She's the Mark Zuckerberg of
I don't
this
even
planet.
know the name.
Yeah, she really is. But I don't feel like it's that far-fetched, you guys. Like, you know, at first when I saw how everyone was freaking out when their phones were cracking, I was like, oh my god, that's so dramatic. And then I thought about it. How many times does someone, like, almost drop their phone in real life? And everyone's, like, freaking out like it's a child or a baby. They're like, oh my god, my phone. So I didn't feel like it was that far-fetched. And I do feel like we're, like, zombies. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the Pokemon Go craze a couple years ago, but everybody on Santa Monica Pier here in LA was like this on their phones, just like staring down at it. It was
trying to catch them all.
Crazy.
I love Pokemon.
Crazy.
I never got that craze. I really didn't. Even when I got the Harry Potter version of it, like I would play it, but I think for me, it's why reason I don't understand like influence. I'm happy that if they can make a positive influence in your life, great. But I never got the craze because I like to be connected to people actually in life. And sometimes my phone is not it can't be my life, and I can't have it be my life.
But I think a lot of people think that it's their life, and that's how they're going to constantly connect to people.
No, I get that. But I mean, like, for me, I never understood the craze of, like you were saying, Pokemon Go. I never understood it. Even when I was playing, I would, like, be on my phone like this. I'm just like, why? You're draining my life here.
But that's also the painting a picture of something that's not real. Social media is not real. It's all your highlights. And even myself, like, what I post, that's my highlights.
Yeah.
It's not my full extent of life. I don't post negative constantly, like the struggles that I go through. Like I could easily post those things, but it's also like, do I want to post those things? Do I want to be that vulnerable? Like, no, everyone wants to see like that perfect picture thing, that fantasy that isn't really encapsulating the full picture of someone's life. People can make it seem like they have their life together on social media, but really they don't. Like, my life's not together. Are you kidding me? No. But sometimes I make it seem like it is, even though it's not. And so I think that's kind of in a sense of where they're going in this route, you know, with Morgan
and I think
whatnot.
There's more of an attachment to the phone when you're talking to someone that you have feelings for or like a crush on, and that's exactly what Gert was experiencing when she was like, no, I need to talk to him. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty pissed off. I was pretty annoyed that she could go so quickly from Chase confessing his love for her to her being like, okay, bye Chase, like see you later, just because she found someone who is also
like the same version of her,
justice warrior. I don't know. I was so irritated by that. I just felt, not that she owes Chase anything, but I just think it's so disrespectful to like blatantly like grab the other guy's hand and be like, oh, we're gonna go off here. Like, it was just too much for me. And I was like, that's what happens when you trust men. They go and they form this alliance and then they expose Molly, and that's what happens.
Oh my gosh. See, don't trust men.
Yeah,
basically.
just don't trust. That's the moral of the story.
How
don't trust men and Morgan le Fay.
I'm really confused by that. I feel like I got lost in translation. What was it? Wait, because you talked about Gert, so now I'm confused about the whole lost for you can't trust men. What did I miss?
Well, I mean, when Molly, this is jumping ahead, but Molly revealed herself.
One. Oh, that's what I said.
She revealed herself, but then he outed her to Kendall and Kylie witches, which I don't know their names, but I called them Kendall and Kylie because they look like models, basically little mini Morgans.
They were
around.
gorgeous,
very gorgeous. But what were your thoughts on Gert and Chase, despite them kind of like being at odds at one another? They were trying to go viral to kind of showcase that Corvus is bad. They were trying to like, do not sign up for Corvus. Do not, go for it because it's essentially something that is very negative.
My favorite part of that whole thing was that Gert's personality really shines through with the social justice causes that she's so passionate about. And in the live stream, like, they're talking about how, like, the people who make these phones are working in sweatshops in China, and it's really unethical. And it's like, okay, that's not the point, but we're glad that you decided to shed light on that issue as well. So I enjoyed that part. I thought it was very true to Gert's character. I love how they incorporated that into the script. I thought it was really funny and a nice little touch there.
What do you think, Chae? Anything?
I liked it a lot. It was funny because when Chase was you might remember us as being those kids that were kidnapped and then maybe murderers possibly, and then Gert is just like, no, that's too much. Like, we don't have time for all this. And like, she would get straight to the point, but then she also got sidetracked. It's true Gert in a true Gert fashion. Like what you want to say, somehow you still get distracted. and add things that should never be added.
Yeah. But
Instead of staying on point.
I feel like that's the true Gert coming out, though, because I feel like Gert has been, I agree with Mina in the sense that Gert's kind of been pissing me off here and there throughout kind of this season. And even I think last season, she's kind of, I don't know what's up with her. Something about her is just being, I don't see the true Gert like that way I've seen in season 1. There's something that she's hiding, and she's clearly, she has so many walls with Chase.
Yeah.
And I feel like Chase has really kind of broken down his walls and really has become vulnerable with her and other characters, yet she maintains those walls. And I think one of the most beautiful things you can do to someone, to another person, is to be vulnerable. Because if I'm going to be vulnerable with you, Gert, then that should make it okay that you're going to be vulnerable, because that's a gift that I'm giving you. These are my true emotions.
And it's like, I don't want to say that you have to be vulnerable, because obviously there's different levels of self-disclosure. It's not like, oh, Chae tells me her deepest, darkest secret, and I'm like forced and obligated to tell her my deepest, darkest secret. It's like, no, that's on you. You wanted to confide in me. I will keep your secret safe. It doesn't mean that I have to tell you mine. But it's just that I feel like we have like this empathy for Chase now, because before he transformed from season 1 into this like really douchey, you know, kind of image obsessed character.
Right.
And then we started finding more and more layers to him, where he's very smart, he's very intellectual, he has this dark backstory of being, you know, abused, his mom was abused, and we see like those layers in his personality, and the fact that we can see him becoming more and more vulnerable and not just lashing out at Gert and being jealous, but actually telling her, hey, I really love you, and like, why are you doing this, and blah blah blah. I feel like it's very refreshing to see that, because he's not being controlling, he's expressing how he feels, which is the right way to do things. And I feel like she kind of gets a kick out of him being jealous. She's like, oh my god, you're just so jealous. And it's like, she's not being honest or authentic with him or with herself. It's like, we know that she wants him. I think she is convincing herself that she doesn't, because she found someone who aligns
with her image.
In terms of, like, you know, the causes that she's passionate about. And I don't think you have to have the same interests to be a good
That's what I said last episode.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating. I think so many people think, if we both like hiking and we both like sushi and we both like this, then we're meant to be together. But I think there's this, you know, other underlying factor of, there's something called chemistry, and sometimes you can't fully explain chemistry, and it transcends shared interest, and it transcends everything else, and I feel like that's what they have, and she's just closing herself off to it.
Chemistry is magic.
It
is.
My
god, it's like science and magic coming together. It's really it's something that's very inexplainable. Sometimes you can't explain love and whatnot, and sometimes it's just very natural, despite it feeling magical. It's so weird. Oh my god, it's so great. At the same time,
just repeating everything I just said, so I'm super happy that she also agrees with me from last episode.
I didn't even watch last episode yet.
But Mina, I think you brought up something along. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot what you said because I'm thrown off by Chae. Just kidding. No, but
Rude.
Speaking of the whole thing about not having to have interests, like that's a prime example of Nico and Karolina, who are totally different characters in their own rights. Like, we have the light and the darkness, and I think that's a huge theme of this season. It's a huge theme of Cloak and Dagger. You know, it's literally balancing each other out, and I think Chase and Gert do that perfectly, splendidly, and that's why their chemistry, that's why their magic, it exists, because of that. Even though they're completely different people.
And, you know, when she says, and even Gert explained in earlier episodes, that her relationship with Chase was a case of opposites attract, and that is Karolina and Nico. But something else that I really loved is that, you know, we think that Nico is giving herself up to the darkness and that she's about to do all these things, but I was so impressed with Nico's character in this episode. Like, I love that, you know, Tina came back to normal, and that, you know, all these characters, we finally get to see them in their true state. We get to see Stacy in her true state, Dale in his, well, I don't know, his true state. But we get to see all these characters, and finally we have the real Robert back, even if for just a couple scenes. And, like, that was so important for me as a viewer, to finally see these Pride members back the way that we remember them, because for so long they were either inhabited
humans.
But
they're not inhabited by an alien anymore. They're
not tied to Pride, because Pride doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So these kind of are the versions of who they were before Joan even came into their lives, which is also a good way to view them. And you can actually, when Tina broke the enchantment over Robert and their, like, his actual like happiness at seeing her, my heart like broke at that moment, because I felt so happy for them because their love, despite the affair that happened, they did have love in their relationship.
Right.
They have love for each other, even with everything that's happened in their lives. The love is still there, and it's actually really strong. And it was just so sweet to see.
I know. I was really happy watching that. I mean, it was weird because it almost went from, like, 0 to 180 like that. And normally that wouldn't be believable. But for whatever reason, watching that scene felt so raw and believable for me. And I don't know. It just was like, they felt like a family again. You know, we just needed Amy, but...
We needed kind of, like, this fatal blow, essentially, to Robert, losing another character. You lost Amy, and now you're losing the father, you know, Tina's husband.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. I think it goes to show that how loss in your family or your loved ones, whether you're biologically tied or not, it just goes to show that the silver lining in the loss of a loved one is that it does bring people together.
Right.
And I think that's a prime example of Nico and Tina.
And his last words in Japanese, I was just like, why you make me cry today? Like, it was so beautiful. Like, saying that, you know, she is the brightest light in the world and just protect her.
And I think it also just showed how scary Morgan can be and how she can kind of take you out there and then. And she's smart. She caught on so quick. Robert was trying to be the sneaky mole that he is. It was so nice that
she got it like that.
She felt it. She's someone's in my books. Someone's in my books. Literally.
Oh my god. So this is what Nicholas Kelly says, you guys. So wait a minute. In the small span of 6 months, Morgan basically took over $1 billion company, enslaved the entire state of California, and now is marketing her conduit for her magic. Yes, Nicholas, that is so true. Crazy. How come I can't accomplish all of this in 6 months?
Technically, she only is the southern part of California, like where she at so far. She hasn't got to the whole state. She heading there though.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna happen.
But
I mean, there was no one else. There was no one else to combat her. Robert was the perfect person for her to manipulate in order to get into Wizard. Tina wasn't there, so she had the span of 6 months.
And she hates Tina,
and
like, as we see.
This is another
thing. And Tina hates her guts too.
I want to know what happened to them, because obviously they knew each other. They went to magic school, whatever you want to call it. They've known each other for a while, and I'm assuming Tina's the one that put Morgan away. Yeah. She sent Morgan away. I have that.
Girl, that's
prediction. That's prediction. Okay. That's a theory. That's my
good
theory.
Prediction, though. That's
I have that feeling because she's like, I want her to like see you when you die. I want to like have it go up my spine.
That's good. I get that prediction brewing because I like that a lot.
There is a plot hole when it comes to Tina, though.
Oh, no.
And this is something that Brandon Bowie in the chat has pointed out. He says, one plot hole is that prior to season 3, Tina could not do magic without her staff. But now she's able to do magic without it. Most likely in order to serve the Magic Morgan storyline. Which I thought was really interesting because we never saw Tina do anything without her staff. We basically saw Tina powerless the first 2 seasons, and now we see Tina speaking Latin and doing the thing where she touches Robert and, you know, is able to cast a spell.
Maybe she felt like she didn't, to kind of defend plot holes, maybe she felt like she didn't need to use the level of magic that she needed without the staff because there was no other magic within season 1 or season 2. It really was very grounded the other seasons.
To the staff of 1.
It was very grounded then. There was no other magic. Everything was kind of tech-based or alien-based.
Right.
This is the final it was funny because I feel like the first season was more so technology. Second season was aliens. Third season was magic.
Right.
And our 4th season's going to be... No.
We hope.
I feel like there is a possibility to bring back season 4. You guys just have to tweet about it.
Right.
You have to tweet about Marvel's Runaways.
Tweet
you gotta
your anger.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you can do.
Hashtag it.
Yeah, or use those phones from...
Use your Corvus.
Use the Corvus.
No, I'm going to use my Apple, okay?
Tweet
That's
Kevin Feige. Tweet Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I think shows really do come back. They're revived through the fan base, the powerful fan base. And I'm so proud of the fan base of Runaways because it is a very diverse fan base of all ages, of all races, of all sexual orientations, because so many people can identify with these characters because it's not only the kids that we're empathizing and relating to, it's also the Pride members.
Right.
You know, so it's just...
Because granted, even though we're not saying the murdering of 17 kids is something to overlook. We're not saying that. But we're also trying to understand that they were people before Jonah came into their lives and made the sacrifice. And as we're learning, everybody's willing to make a certain sacrifice to get what they want in life.
Right.
Because in their mind, it's a good justification.
Yeah.
It is a good intention, but we all know the good intentions lead for the roll of hell. So.
But also, I think it also leaves room for certain characters, such as the Pride, to repent for their sins.
Yeah.
And, it's just because this one thing isn't going to completely define me, basically. Like, this one mistake that I did, I can right my wrongs, even if it's going to, like, if it kills me, I could still right that wrong. So,
And I also don't think killing certain characters that's been happening also is justice in a sense. At least, especially when it comes to like Catherine and what happened to her. Because for me, the more justice you could have had is have her rotten in prison. You don't like her death doesn't do anything for me. Her suffering, that is a lot for my life. At least that's where when I came from when it came to Catherine specifically, because your man's gone. Why would you just kill her? Like, you should just let her stay there. Frame her for another murder if you have to, or something like that. Keep her there.
And then the salt in the wounds. Jeffrey is with Tamar.
I'm still pissed by that. I just really...
And Jeffrey's now Jeffrey's under control from Morgan. So I'm like, great.
Because she's using his wanting to know where Alex is for him. And his love for his son is infinite. Like, he would do anything for Alex.
Do we know if that really is Alex, or am I being a crazy conspiracy theorist right now?
Alien?
Not alien Alex, but I almost wondered when they were looking into the mirror if she was just projecting an image of torture that wasn't accurate, and that I wondered if she even has power to bring Alex back, because it feels like, she seems like she's an all-powerful sorceress, but in reality, Morgan le Fay can't do anything without Nico. There's a reason she wants the Staff of One. There's a reason that, Nico is important to her. She can't take over without Nico. Nico is the missing link.
Well, the Staff of One is why she keeps.
Well, yeah, the Staff of One, but I do feel, and I don't know this for sure, but I do feel like this might be similar to the Elder Wand in Harry Potter, where the Staff of One is only meant for one owner.
Yeah.
So it's only whether it's Tina or Nico, it has to be rightfully earned. And if it's not, then Morgan le Fay can't even really use it. She needs to harness its powers through Nico. So she wanted to get Nico's loyalty, but she told Nico, you are a true Minoru.
Right.
You are a traitor. I should have known.
She can't use it, too, because she needs Nico at the end of the day. She doesn't want to kill Nico because the Staff of One only is for the Minoru clan. You know, it's only for Tina. And I remember Tina even said, the staff thinks you're me. She said that to Nico. That's why Nico can use it. And who knows if Amy could have used it at some point.
Probably.
It just seems like it's like passed down.
Yeah.
It kind of like goes from Minoru to Minoru, particularly the females.
Right.
Especially like even Tina's nightmare, it was the grandmother, the sister, the aunts, basically.
Yeah.
So the women of the family definitely can use it. Robert didn't have really nothing to do with it, basically. So yeah.
Well, there you go.
I loved what Robert did though with those glasses.
Yeah,
smart.
He left his that was like his swan song. He went out.
That was so smart. That was so smart. We kept thinking, wow, he was so close yet so far. And the second he said, take my glasses, I want you to see the world the way I saw it, I literally thought it would be some sort of Spy Kids thing. This whole, like, algorithm with all of this, like, I
actually was afraid that she's gonna see his actual death too. I was afraid like that was gonna show up, like she was gonna see that too at the same time.
It recorded everything.
Yeah, it recorded everything.
Or him and Morgan doing the freaky time.
Oh no!
I'm pretty sure he took off the glasses for that. I really hope so, Lord. No child needs to see that.
It's probably all fogged up. I'm
so sorry. I had to bring some light.
I also doubt Morgan was giving him some. Like, he was an enchantment. Like, she could have pretended like they were doing something. He wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah, I don't think Morgan wants that. She doesn't care about human pleasures.
Robert's so attractive though. I think he's a zaddy.
I agree with the zaddy part, but yeah.
Okay, something we did skim over because we still have lots of time, but what did you think about Molly? Molly had a huge part in this episode just because she confronted Lesley, because we come to find out Dale kind of spilled the beans, which is kind of a good thing. I think at some point these characters need to know the truth of what happened in the past, especially to their parents.
I feel, yeah.
And she confronts Lesley, kill my parents.
Right.
And what did you think? Did you think she was going to react violently?
Yeah.
And knowing that she didn't react violently, how did you perceive that?
You know, one of the people in the chat earlier said that Molly showed a lot of growth in this episode. I can understand how they would think that, but for me, I was a little annoyed and disappointed in Molly. However, she is the youngest, so I feel like I do tend to cut her the most slack, because I do think she has a lot of growing up to do. I feel like she's someone who definitely wears her heart on her sleeves, says exactly what she's thinking at all times without any sort of foresight to, maybe I should keep this a secret. Maybe I shouldn't blindly trust everyone.
No filter.
Maybe I shouldn't show a random person that I've known for like less than a week my powers, because that's something crazy to do. Like, why would you just show someone that you have a crush on your powers? That's like the equivalent of telling someone you just started dating that you have some sort of mental illness. Like, you save that stuff for later.
Right.
You don't lead with it. You save it once there's trust. And once that trust is built, then you can say, hey, this is like my secret, or I'd like to talk about this and I don't want to be judged for it. You don't do it when you first meet someone. So I was super annoyed. I also felt like the way she confronted Lesley was kind of immature and very much like, I know what you did. You shielded the truth from me.
Technically, I will say in this Molly's defense, she didn't confront Lesley. She left the room. Lesley came and followed her. So Lesley...
She was giving her the side eye, too. Like, Molly, she was just looking at her up and down. Girl, bye. But, I mean, I'm happy. I think... Overall, I was satisfied that she didn't choose to kill or do anything violent towards Lesley, because at the end of the day, her doing her in wouldn't bring up her family. It wouldn't make her feel anything. I love what Lesley said. She has all this weight of all the deaths that she had, and she wouldn't wish that on anyone. And if Molly would have killed Lesley, she would have had that weight of killing someone. Regardless of whether Lesley deserved it. Yeah. You're still killed someone.
I mean, even people who have killed in self-defense have survivor's guilt and remorse and so much guilt for it, because they, like, your mind you understand what's the word? You understand on a mental level that you did what you had to do because it was either your life or theirs. But as a human being, for a lot of us, we're not built to take another life. Right. We just aren't built that way. We are not built to also handle the emotions that comes along with that. Mm-hmm. And in Lesley saying that to Molly was just one, it shows her growth as her own character, as Lesley is understood what she's done. And she actually, she's accepting it. She's saying, I understand why you want to hurt me. And if you do, I will sit here and take it. However, it will not make you feel any better. And it will just weigh on you. And I think in Molly's mind, she understands I'm also too young for that burden too. Like, she has been burdened with so much information. I don't think she needs to add this to her plate. Mm-hmm. Right. When it comes to Bodhi, Molly, you met this dude yesterday. I'ma need you. Like you saying, we always think of Molly. We should she has shown a lot of growth over 3 seasons, but she is still the youngest. So she is gullible in that sense of, he thinks I'm beautiful. He thinks I'm fearless. Mm-hmm. Maybe can be my new normal. I can find my new normal this way. Baby girl, no. Build some trust. Make him earn it. Don't just give it to him. Mm-hmm. And then okay, I have a surprise for you. Just wait right here. How did you know I was going to come today? Mm-hmm. What surprise could you possibly have for me if you didn't know I was coming?
I do think that shows that, I think we already said it, that Molly is the youngest, but she's also just not a perfect character like a lot of these characters. And it's okay not to be perfect. She does have her faults. She is very trustworthy. That comes with her youth. And I think it's also, not to defend her, but she does feel like on the outskirts right now, because she really doesn't know the full extent. I think, Chae, you already said that she's kind of on the outskirts of everything that's going on. She doesn't realize everything that's going on with Morgan and the bigger picture. She's been hanging with Dale. She's been,
cutting up carrots.
Right. She's with, is she becoming a Gib? No, but it just kind of sucks. And I was happy that she didn't do anything negatively to Lesley, but at the same time, I had the idea that she is kind of headed towards this darker route. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. Mina, do you think Molly's in jeopardy of becoming not evil, but doing something negatively? Because it felt like there was still unfinished business after that conversation with Lesley.
I don't know if she's going to do anything, but I know that Nicholas Cully in the chat says there's a reason as to why the mutants are still hidden to this very day. Molly just up and ruined that whole entire race. had this boy posted her on the internet, the whole mutant race would have been screwed even more. Which I think is a really interesting point, because I feel like the second you find out there's one of them, you're like, oh, this can't just be like some sort of aberration. There has to be more. Like, who else is out there that has this power? It's not just one. So I totally get what Nicholas Kelly is saying in the chat. And I feel like Molly had the potential to ruin something. And that would have been a big deal. Like, if you have a power like that, you don't share it with the world. You keep it a secret so that you can use it as a secret weapon in self-defense.
Right.
You don't just use it. Like, we remember her in season 1 just using it for fun and, like, getting really ahead of herself and being like, I'm going to be the superhero and I'm going to be an adult and save the world. And we saw how bad and disastrous that was. And it almost feels like in this instance, she hasn't learned her lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Molly could, not that she would be prone to evil, she's definitely be prone to be manipulated by evil and do things not of her knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's going to harm her more when she comes out of it and she's back to being Molly and she realizes the damage that she caused. That's going to cause her a lot more hurt and pain than anything else. Because she wants to help. That's all she really wants to do.
Right.
But in this case, you know, something bad's about to happen. And even when they found out about Karolina's power, they're like, oh, Morgan will be love to use you. Like, you're gonna be very useful to whatever Morgan's plan is, because we don't really have the actual full details of what it is.
Which we better get. Right? We got 3 more episodes.
I mean, and you know, we got some surprise people that came today. You want to talk about them, Ollie?
Oh yeah. Well, by the end of the episode, when Nico quote unquote summoned them, or did they come themselves? You're talking about Cloak and Dagger, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I was like,
who
okay.
else gonna...
Tandy and Tyrone. You know, if you're no stranger to the Cloak and Dagger after show, I also host that. Unfortunately, that has been canceled as well with the addition of, Kevin Feige.
And they kept siren. I'm just saying.
But it's also just kind of like Disney Plus and Kevin Feige controlling all the creative divisions within the MCU now. And that means the television, so it sucks. But it is cool to kind of see their last kind of portrayal in the Runaways. And it's so interesting because it's like, yes, they are crossing over to the Runaways, but yet it's the Runaways are going into their world, the dark dimension and whatnot, which will, that's the next episode. But we can still get our predictions going for that. But what were your thoughts on kind of like this idea of having a crossover with Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways? And do you think it's a good thing or is it a bad thing?
I'd like to see some Spider-Man. I'd like to see some Thor. I'd like to see some more.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I love that you bring up Spider-Man because it's time to get to our quick little special segment, our comic book corner. Because it's so funny, the Runaways actually encountered Spider-Man in the first initial run, and they also encountered Cloak and Dagger. And it's so funny because in the comics, it was actually Flores. I don't know if you remember Flores from season 2.
Oh, the detective? Yeah.
Who's gone.
Thank God.
But he actually hired Cloak and Dagger in the comics to track down the Runaways for the Pride. So it's interesting that in this iteration, Nico kind of summoned them, or they came themselves because Nico was tampering with the Dark Dimension in order to get to Alex. But the Cloak and Dagger in the comics played a huge role in kind of like hinting at who the mole was, because at one point, some of the Runaways in the comics were brought into the Dark Dimension by Cloak, and he was the one who sensed that one of them was evil, one of them. And we know in the comics that, spoilers, we already said it on the after show, that Alex was the one that came out to be the mole in the comics. And obviously, it's the aliens in this iteration. But until then, we got to save the Cloak and Dagger discussion for the next after show. So why don't we get to predictions?
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What do you think could potentially happen throwing Cloak and Dagger in with Nico? Because some of our characters got kidnapped.
I mean, they saved them, I think.
No, not in this episode.
Nobody saved anybody yet?
No, that's why she got them.
I feel, okay, so this is a little confused about that scene. I will say this. So the book said that to go to the Dark Dimension, there had to be an exchange of a soul, right? Like in the way it was phrased.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
and that line confused me in a sense of, does that mean the fact that Robert died? Can you take that soul in a sense over to the Dark Dimension and that's where it will stay?
Possibly.
How does one soul travel in that sense, or do you bring it with you? You can't take it back. I had a lot of questions about that particular line.
Is very interesting. Okay, because now I'm thinking about it, because maybe does that mean Alex's soul is somehow kind of like exchanged for them to go? I don't know. That's kind of makes me look at the episode and kind of like future possibilities differently now. So maybe if that's the case, someone's soul has been used in order to get there.
Someone's soul is still there. Like their true soul.
I think that has to do with Alex, honestly. He's the one who like, we know the least amount about right now. Mm-hmm. We don't know what's going on with him, and it looks like the soul has been taken out of him, quite literally. Like he's being tortured or something.
Mm-hmm. And where's the aliens? Are they...
Well, the aliens have been
I guess
they were destroyed when they were sent to the Dark Dimension.
Well, that would be an interesting turn of events to see if the aliens are going to inhabit new bodies, and we think that we're safe, but then we realize, nope, this whole time, now Nico is the alien, because when she did that, all the aliens came and inhabited her body.
Oh, damn.
Wow, you want to... She got 4 personalities. Now she got 5. That's kind of crazy. She don't need no more.
Yeah, that's why she's not getting along with Karolina.
Well, they're not getting along because they need to communicate better.
No, because there's 4 people inhabiting her body right now. That's the real reason.
Any more predictions, whether it's, Tandy and Tyrone, whether it's Molly, who she's not been captured, but I don't think she's been captured.
Okay, so all we know is that 6 have been captured.
Which was Dale, Stacy, Victor, Karolina, Chase, Gert.
Right. And all we know is that Bodhi, last time we saw Molly, was talking about having a surprise and he'll be back in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. That was the last time we ever heard of Molly.
Right.
So we can assume, not that she's kidnapped.
They have something in store for her.
Yeah, they have something in store for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she got that power. Bodhi's like, oh.
Fun little person I want to mention in the comments right now. Nicholas Kelly says, I would love them to encounter the Avengers and the X-Men, just a couple of members, because Cloak and Dagger, along with the Runaways, has met them multiple times in the comics. Mm-hmm. That's really a fun fact, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that they already met the Avengers and X-Men. And that's also interesting, considering that one of the X-Men, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence?
Mystique.
Mystique is very similar to Zavin's character. So I'd like to see how that plays out if she and Zavin ever come in contact with one another, because that would just be so much shape-shifting going on. It would be so confusing. Could Zavin turn into Mystique, and could Mystique turn into Zavin, in which case my mind is just going to be completely blown.
Well, Mystique is dead. And along with the X-Men films.
No.
Oh, no, they're back. They're back. They're back, baby.
No, according to Dark Phoenix, but yeah.
Now that Disney has taken it back, we're going to get new X-Men and Fantastic Four.
That's going to be a couple years, probably. But
Phase 5, that's when that's
happening. More thoughts before we have to unfortunately wrap up?
Nothing other than I want to designate Nicholas Kelly our comic book expert.
Yes.
Because he is just bringing these comic book reference gems to our panel.
We stand.
Thank you, Nicholas Kelly. We love you. Thanks for participating in the chat, everyone. This is great.
Yes, we love you guys. You make the show just even more marvelous than it already is.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we got to wrap. Where can I find my amazing, marvelous panel on social media?
You guys can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me at Disney's High School Musical, the musical, the after show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Disney News Weekly on Popcorn Talk, and Stumptown with that person on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Hey guys, I am Mina Naidine. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mina Makes Magic. I talk about movies, I talk about astrology, I talk about both those things together. Check it out.
Yes, and I'm Ollie Drennan. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Dreamer, and check out my cosplay page on Instagram as well at Ollie Cosplays. We have 3 more episodes of this season. Stick around because we still have some more running away to do. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.